This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Are we ready to start?
I think it looks like Turner, you're on a call
I
in.
don't see any.
I think Jeff just called in.
Okay, I see Jeff.
Oh, there he is.
I'm
Okay.
here.
Yay. All right, I think we're ready to go, Bob.
I think you lost Bob.
No, he's
Oh, there he is. Hey, Bob, can you hear us?
I'll go check.
Can you hear me, Dorothea?
Yep, I can hear you, Bob. Okay,
I can't hear you.
you can hear me. That's a good start. All right, do you want to start the meeting? I think we're good to go. Just a reminder, we're doing this because of the governor.
And you want to record?
We're already
Dorothea?
recording. Already hit the button.
Okay. Doesn't show it is. Okay.
I have.
It said it is now recording right before you
Okay.
hopped on.
All right. All right. Hey, Dorothea, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me, Bob?
I can't hear you.
Okay, I'll be right there.
Charlie, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good, good, good.
One of those speakers, the volume might be off.
All right.
It would be the one closest, I think, to the wall. It would be red light. Just turn that.
There we go. All
You
right.
should be able to hear now.
Can everyone hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to wait for Dorothea to get back to her desk and then we'll.
It's going in and out though. Everybody's
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to call the meeting to order. Do we have a second? I'll second
Trustee
it.
Lanfear second. Trustee Lanfear second.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, I made a motion to call the meeting to order, Dorothea, and it was seconded.
Who seconded?
I think Dan did it first.
Okay, I'll do. Okay, roll call. Trustee Keating.
Keating, aye.
Trustee Lampier. Lily, can you hear us? We
Lily,
lost Lily.
can you hear?
No, she seems to be frozen. Mary, can you try calling Lily and let her know she's frozen?
All right.
Either there, she's just not moving.
She can play the still game very well. Trustee
You might have
Galusha,
to reconnect.
Frank?
Yes, Trustee Galusha, aye.
Okay. Let me find Trustee Stetzer.
Trustee.
I am on.
I mean, Stetzer, I. Oh my
Okay.
God, this is not
Mayor
going well.
Corby?
Corby, aye.
She's on. Okay, Lily? Trustee Lampier? Oh.
Okay, as long as you're on, you're good with her? Okay.
If she's on, I'm good.
I'll
okay.
let you get to the meeting.
Okay, I think we have Lily back.
Her computer decided to approve.
Lily, you there now? I think we lost her again. Okay, we've lost Lily again. I assume she'll try calling back in, Bob.
Okay.
You want to
why
move
don't-
forward?
Yeah, let's move forward. First thing we have is an item from Mary.
Well, yes, we can go ahead with the bond. I sent this out to everybody today. We got this yesterday. We need to make this payment, and given the timing, we'd like to get it set because we have to meet with the bank and everything now to get this all arranged. So this is our bond payment we do in May. So I'm asking approval to pay the $45,000 principal and the $2,581.25 in interest.
So moved. Do we have a second?
I'll second it. Keating. My only question on it is that the amount that was in the budget? I assume it was because she's usually
Yes.
on top of that stuff. Okay, then yeah,
Yep.
sounds good. I'll second
It's-
it.
Yes. Okay. Roll call, trustee Keating.
Keating, aye.
Lily, are you there? No, Lily. Trustee Galusha,
Trustee Galusha, aye.
Mayor Corby,
Corby, aye.
trustee Stetser.
That's all right.
Motion passes. Yeah, I thought she was, but I don't have it. The other thing I sent out this afternoon was just the information related to Simply Crepes changing their class for their liquor license. And if the board has any concerns or whatever, I was just to bring it always to your attention when I receive one of these.
And they're,
Now, don't they serve wine now? I thought they did.
They do, and it looks like they're going just from the wine beer to the liquor wine beer and cider.
Yeah, so they're going to go from RW 341, which is wine, restaurant wine, and they're applying for an OP on premises 252 license. Does that mean they're applying to serve liquor now?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought, but you really can't pull that out of what we have here.
Yeah, it's very limited information they provide you. And that
It's listed on there, Frank. It shows that it shows the class they're currently in and then the class that they're applying for in that 3-page document that they sent.
Yeah, I see it now. Item 11.
the only, I mean, without knowing more about it, my only concern would be that they've expanded into a downstairs space. The downstairs space doesn't meet the criteria for isolation from residential property. And the question is there any additional impact due to longer hours of operation or more intensive use of the downstairs space where it might have a noise nuisance impact on the neighbors?
Why do you think it would be any different with people drinking wine than people drinking a gin and tonic? That they'd be any quieter or noisier?
Well, it depends, because the hours of, if it's going to more of a bar type use in the back, then there will probably tend to be more late night noise in the parking lot, and that backs up to someone's back lawn.
But that would be a change in use, which is not what they're asking for here.
Right.
Would only be a change in use if they're asking to change their hours of operation.
Yeah, I don't think it's a change in use. Trustee Galusha.
Right. So this is just an FYI, right? We don't have to vote.
Right. We don't have a decision
No,
to make here.
no action is required.
Yeah.
I think it's just brought to our attention because it's something to pay attention to. Because again, this is kind of the issue that we dealt with in the special permit discussion during our zoning code update. Sometimes businesses morph into something else and the nuisances expand beyond what was originally anticipated.
Yeah, Trustee Galusha, the liquor law, I think, specifies that the owner has to send this to the municipality. And if they have anything that they'd like to input, this is the way they would do it. My only question is that lower section where they are they within the 100 feet from that residence?
They are.
Okay.
When they officially first went in there, the 100-foot restriction was waived because all entrance was through the front of the building. That's now changed because they've now converted a separate retail space in the basement to part of their operation.
I see.
Can I make a suggestion that maybe we have Steve give them a call and check out what they're planning to do with the change of the liquor license, and maybe next week at the next meeting, if it's an issue, take it up then?
Yeah, it may mean no action required, but I think it's worth an investigation.
I'll reach out. This is Steve. I'll reach out to Pierre and see what the deal is.
Great, perfect. Okay.
Can I make a suggestion?
Trustee Galusha, I'm in agreement.
Can I make a suggestion?
Oh, Lily's back.
We should check their latest special permit to see what they're allowed to do there. Because I think it required a special permit change when they moved downstairs. I think we can't control what they do liquor-wise, but we can control what they do by virtue of their special permit. And I think that's why we get these notices, particularly the kitchen issue.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So let's have Steve report back at our next meeting after he does looks into it. Okay.
I'm in agreement, Trustee Galusha.
Lily, because you were out, we were discussing the proposed change in the liquor license classification for Simply Crepes.
I see. I just caught the tail end, and it sounds as if I do agree with Jeff in that this was a special use permit, and so we would need to revisit what they were permitted, what they were granted a special use permit for. It might not be, much of a change at all, except that they're adding a different sort of alcohol beverage to their offerings to what already exists. So we will wait and hear what Steve has to say. And if there's no change to the hours of operation, then it probably is not too much of a concern, I would think.
Okay, all right. Next item, Dorothea.
First Light contract that Jeff forwarded on. I got from Jeff and I forwarded on to you last week.
Jeff, do you want to give us any more background on that?
Hey, guys, before we do that, we have Charlie right on the horn here right now on Harley. Do we want to just cover that and then we can let him go? Because the First Light could take a while, right, Jeff?
I don't, it's not my sense that it should take a while.
Okay.
I think it's
All
kind
right,
of
then
got a
let's
basic
move
kind of,
forward.
but on the other hand, I have no preference. I mean, it's not my call in what order the board does business.
It doesn't matter. Let's just go do green light. I think it'll be quick.
Okay, all right.
So it's First Light. As you recall, they came in the village wanting to do their thing. We did not have an agreement with them that would control and provide liability coverage and all the rest of the stuff that's in the green light agreement. So we shipped them the green light agreement. They at first kind of groused about the 5%, but then I think backed off that, changed the agreement to First Light, left the 5% in, and instead of making it street specific, they made it pursuant to plans that are attached. So Steve, you gotta be careful of that. We know what the plans are. They're gonna be attached to that agreement. But other than that, it's just like Greenlight's agreement, which, as you recall, is what we have to do so that we're not going to, if we do a better deal for First Light, Greenlight is going to be able to take advantage of that. And not only that, I think that it's been the board's position in the past to treat all of these telecommunications companies as equally as possible. So the agreement is fine as it is to sign, subject to, we've got to make sure we get their plans in place before they work.
All right, this is Steve. I've been in constant contact with them and Scott Harder in regards to this, and we will not allow them to operate until Scott is completely satisfied with whatever plans they're proposing, because they want to go underground at Shane Place. And Scott is, and same with me, there's too much stuff there without a complete thorough plan and plan of action that they may not interfere with somebody else's operation down there. So, you know, we can sign it or do the agreement with them, but they won't be working here until Scott's completely satisfied with whatever plans they present.
This is Trustee Lanfear. I understand what you said about signing the contract, but I would be personally hesitant to sign any contracts with them as a village until all of the terms are clear and satisfied. I wouldn't want to do it ahead.
Well, I think the point is, I'm sorry.
Is there a reason why we have to do it ahead of time? In order for them to do
There's no reason I
plans?
know of. On the other hand, the check for that is that Steve's not going to give them a work permit until we know what they want to do. The agreement that they want us to sign just outlines the arrangement by which they come into our village and we get paid for it.
I see. Okay.
This is Steve again. If it were me, I'd sign, if they're willing to sign a contract and it works for the village, I would sign it while it's on the table.
I see.
I agree, because the contract is for the financial compensation. I think the physical engineering issues, those are going to be handled by Scott and Steve, and those are independent of the contract.
Steve, am I right? Steve, am I correct that they need a work permit once they sign the agreement? They can't do anything without the permit?
Correct.
All right. Well, remember, they've come in before without the contract. I'm concerned that once they get the contract signed, they're going to be able to think they can get in and work. They need to be, it needs to be clear. It needs to be clear they have to have a work permit.
Okay.
I will make sure, this is Steve again, I will make sure with their construction manager that nothing will proceed in here. I've already kicked them out a couple times, but that nothing will proceed in here until Scott is satisfied.
Jeff, why couldn't we write that as an amendment on the contract that no work shall proceed until the code enforcement officer has signed off on a work permit?
I'm not convinced. I think it might be in here.
Okay.
Yeah, isn't that redundant?
Hello? What was that question?
Isn't that redundant? Yeah, no, I was saying the same thing you are, Jeff.
Yeah, it's subject to the permits already.
Okay, all right, so we're good to go.
Okay.
I think so. I mean, I'm with Steve that it would be good to get this deal done and in writing, and then that way they've already signed it. When we sign it, we're entitled to that 5%. We wouldn't have the problem we're having with Greenlight.
Okay.
And
I also think it gives us a little leverage with Greenlight to say, look, this is what somebody else did. You're not operating here without the same exact situation.
It sets a precedent, you're correct.
And I do agree that it's a good idea for Steve to underline it with them. So thank you for doing that, Steve.
Would someone like to make a motion? I guess we had to call for a roll call vote, sorry.
Well, you need
So
the motion second.
The motion's going to be to authorize Bob to sign the agreement on behalf of the village.
So someone want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second, Trustee Stetser.
Roll call vote, Dorothea?
Trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
Trustee Galusha,
Trustee Galusha, aye.
Mayor Corby,
Corby, aye?
Trustee Stetser,
That's our aye.
trustee Lampier.
Lanfear, aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, now we can move on to the permit for Holiday Hots, right?
Yep.
Okay, Jeff, do you want to give some background on this?
Well, I will, but I think I'm stealing Steve's thunder. Steve started off on this road in terms of what kind of permit is required for this use. And it's, in his view, it was a temporary zoning permit, just the way it's always been for the last 10 years. It has been a temporary zoning permit. And that is because it's a use that is not prohibited in the zone in which it's located, and as a seasonal, doesn't necessarily have to be seasonal, but it's not a year-round use. It has a finite period when the use is going to be in place, and it's not really a fit subject for a non-municipal use permit because it really isn't using our municipal facilities. So I thought then, and I think now, that his categorization of this as a temporary zoning permit was the right way to go. And the code is very explicit that those permits can only be granted by the ZBA. So I think that's why we're where we are. And of course, when this thing was ready to roll on the ZBA's agenda when the pandemic hit, and that's why there's been no further action on it.
So have they taken a vote to take it to public hearing, or nothing has been done on it?
I'm not for sure about it, but I believe nothing has happened. Steve, is that correct?
Yeah, this is Steve here. I've reached out to Justin. I have not heard back from him yet in regards to trying to get him to set up a go-to meeting to hear this. As soon as I hear from Justin, then, we'll figure out how to proceed forward. But as Jeff said, and unfortunately, I think this, in looking to the code, the way the code was changed and the way it points everything at the ZBA, this would allow, if it became a non-municipal, it opens the door to some other situations which I think would be detrimental to the village.
Just 2 points. First of all, I don't think we answered Bob's question. My belief, though, is that it has not been moved to a public hearing.
Correct.
I'm sorry?
Correct.
Secondly, there has been no code change with the new change that in any way modified how we're handling this. It has been a temporary zoning permit ever since it came into the village, and remained under the new code a temporary zoning permit. So it hasn't changed.
Okay, thanks for clarification.
Well, I think then that we really don't have much we can do here other than to encourage the chair of the ZBA to convene a meeting so we can get this thing started and get a permit done. It's kind of out of our hands. I'm assuming both Jeff and Steve, you would agree with that.
I would, and I know Steve spent a lot of time on this. I really racked my brains to try to find some creative way around this, and it just doesn't exist. I'm sorry to say. I wish there was a way around this, but it really is a ZBA matter, and has always been a ZBA matter ever since I've been representing the village.
Is there anything in the code that says, I don't remember, that says kind of in special circumstances, the Board of Trustees can do the things that other boards do?
No.
On their behalf?
No. The both village law, which is sort of and general municipal law, and all of the state laws which govern how villages do business, and our code is very, very clear about separating any kind of interaction or usurpation of, and usurpation is not the right word, any type of one board doing the job of another board.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole purpose is to keep things separate and discreet.
Yeah, I get it. The frustration, of course, is that they have to post a public hearing.
Right.
They have to post a public hearing, which takes a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And this thing's been in place for 10 years, and they're just gonna take a quick vote, and meanwhile, weeks are going to pass.
Well, you know, they could have a special meeting on 3 days' notice to post it.
Okay.
And I mean, if they wanted to, and then they could have a meeting within, Dorothea, 10 days?
2 days.
What?
Yes, it would be 10 days. But I think in the
So
past,
we should
Linda
encourage
has automated.
us to do that, because obviously we don't want to hold things up any longer than we have to.
Yeah. So at minimum, at best, we're looking 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to speak.
Can-
I won't
we-
speak for that board, and I don't think Dorothea will either, but I mean, if
Well, I
I
think-
know that if this fact pattern was facing the trustees would do something like that. But I don't know, you know, I'm not going to speak for the ZBA.
Steve, correct me, but doesn't Linda automatically set the public hearings for agenda items on the planning board? They don't meet and decide that?
Well, Linda's the one who sets it up, yes, but Justin would have to be the one who would say, yes, we're going to hold a meeting in order for her to set a public hearing. She'd have to have a date in mind in order to be able to accomplish
Right.
that.
So I don't think they need 2 meetings. I think they just need one, and they need the chair to agree, or a quorum of the board to agree that they can meet on a certain date. I mean, the office
But
can get it.
that only shortens the timeline by 3 days. I mean, you know, 3 days, 3 days, but that's not the lengthy part of the timeline.
No,
I
it's
think
not.
the important part is to, you know, see if they can convene a special meeting so they can set a date for the public hearing. That's what needs to be done in a timely manner.
Yeah, if I can reach out to Justin, this is Steve again, if I can reach out and get a hold of Justin, I would think we could get this accomplished somewhere, you know, within 10, 12 days, something like that, I would hope. And that you would put you somewhere around the 15th or 17th of May here, Charlie, which is, I think, your typical start date, wasn't it?
Our typical start date is usually May 1st is when we do start.
All right.
Charlie, we
Now, that timeline may not be quite right, because you got to get it to the paper in the right
Correct.
window to get it published.
You
know,
lose a week. You lose
Yeah.
a week. So you're almost looking at 3 weeks, actually, because if we can get the act together and get it to the paper by Thursday this week, you have to wait a week for the publishing, and then it's 10 days from the publishing date.
Oh,
So,
geez.
yeah, it's not, there's no quick turnaround with the paper.
So am I looking at end of month?
Reasonably, yes.
Okay, but that spot, my understanding is, what I got from John was, that spot is not affected by the changes that came into place in November. I'm
And-
still able to get my special permit.
Oh, yeah,
That's
of
not
course.
out of the question.
No. There's
that would, yeah.
no issue with that, Charlie, because none of the requirements have changed. Absolutely not. I mean, the only thing that's happened is the pandemic, but other than that,
Okay,
if that hadn't
All right.
happened, and if the planning board had met in April, then we could have
Mm-hmm.
had this done by now.
right. So if I would have had this, if I would have applied for them for February's meeting, whatever, this would all be a moot point. We
Correct.
wouldn't even be
That is
speaking about
correct.
this right now.
Yes, there's no reason that I can think of why the special permit wouldn't be granted simply the way it has every other year.
Mhm.
Well, it's
And
just,
it's not something,
it's not a special permit, it's a temporary permit.
Sorry, I misspoke. It's a temporary.
That's okay.
Temporary use
Is there, this is Steve again. Is there any way that there could be a thing without having to continually come back?
Yeah, that, I assume it's possible, but I also think that, given the right timelines, we wouldn't, the owner wouldn't be in this problem. And it's always good, I think, to have a check-in every year to make sure everybody knows what the rules are and what we're doing going forward. And that way, if there's anything that cropped up in the preceding season, it can be dealt with at that time.
It's into what the SAM patch does, and the value of renewing it every year is with the SAM patch, there have been some problems with trash pickup and a few other things, and it's allowed us to deal with them on an annual basis. And that's the reason why it's temporary. The other thing is if you make it permanent, you're sort of making a zoning change in a way that really isn't legally the appropriate way to do that.
Right,
Yeah.
because it's spot zoning.
Hey, Charlie, just so you know, we really tried, and we tried a whole lot of like, hey, we've been doing the same thing for 10 years. Is there any way we could just, we're trying to get somebody back to work. We tried all of it, and I'm really sorry but we have to follow it by the book.
We all want you open as fast as possible, Charlie.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, I mean, you're a great asset to the village. And especially this year with what's happened, it'll be a great sign of life on Main Street to see you over there again.
That was my thinking on it. I think that it would give people a boost, and it would definitely let them have that feeling of normalcy again. I mean, we got all kinds of plans for social distancing and stuff like that. And both my wife and I took a short course online through the health department for COVID-19 food handling and everything. And we're excited to get back out there. We're kind of hoping we could do it quickly. It's hard. I mean, right now we're doing a delivery service out of our commissary, and it's kind of giving us a dry run on a lot of this COVID stuff, which is definitely helpful, and it'll be helpful for when we do get out there. I guess my only question is there's absolutely no way that it could be it could start up temporarily and then go to some kind of hearing after the fact, or it has to be done in this order?
It's, this is the attorney again. We really need to follow the procedure in the code. If we're, and there is no procedure in place to do a preliminary temporary startup.
Right. There's nothing that, due to pandemic.
Yeah, Charlie, this is Steve again. Believe me, Jeff and I both have spent a lot of time looking at the code, trying to figure out a way, and the mayor and Dan are all, we all feel for you, have done everything we can. And like I said, my kind of mistake was to think the difference between a temporary zoning and a special permit. So that was where I thought the code had changed in regard to who controlled what. But regardless, the code is what it is, and we're all bound by it. So.
All right. Is there anything I can do on my end? Can I send a formal letter or something over to Justin requesting this? Would that be helpful, or it doesn't really matter?
I don't think anyone that's involved in this call or this meeting is going to speak for the ZBA. But I mean, from my perspective, it certainly couldn't hurt to lay it out a little bit in writing and request something. That's what I would do.
Okay, cool.
An urgent need, because none of us want to see you miss part of your season. We want you to have as long a season as possible. It's in everybody's interest to do that. And it's good for the village. It's good for you. It's good for all of us.
Right.
And Charlie, we do have somebody from the PZBA on the phone right now. Hopefully he's listening, and I can speak for myself. I'm certainly going to call Justin right away, and I think a few of us are, and say, hey, let's see what we can do on this to expedite it.
Yeah, Justin Lightgib was on here, Dan. I think he's gone now, though.
No, it shows he's still on there, but I don't know.
It looks like he, well, can we try turning him on and see if you can turn him on?
Yeah, no, he's there, Bob.
I'm here. I'm just listening in the background. Unfortunately, I can't comment on behalf of the board, but I certainly would look forward to a message and look forward to discussing this with the rest of the board.
Great.
Okay. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it. I know you guys going through a lot with all this stuff, and I appreciate your time, and I look forward to being out there soon.
We do too.
Us too,
Okay,
Charlie.
Thank
Take
you,
care, and
Charlie.
thank you again. Thank you. Thank you for all you do,
Bye-bye.
guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
especially Steve there. I appreciate your time, and Dan, thank you.
No problem. Take care, Charlie.
Take care. Thank you.
Dorothea, do we have anything else?
Nope, that's all I have for you right now. I'm going to be looking at the agenda for next week. The only thing I think we have on that agenda is the public hearing from the pub, and I still have not heard from them. So I'm going to try reaching out to them and see what's going on. They're not even answering the takeout lines, so we'll go from there.
We should get a number for Kelly because she'll be more easily reached. I'll try to get that for you, Dorothea.
I
They don't have
appreciate
an
it.
email address, Dorothea?
I didn't see it on their website, but I can take another look. At the time, I was more looking for phone numbers. In the
Is it in
same
the
number I
application
had.
materials?
I'm sorry?
Is it in the
In
application materials?
The number in the application materials did not.
Oh, I meant an email address.
I'll look. I might have one for him as well.
Dorothea, I can get you the number. As soon as we end the meeting, I'll get you the number. It's not a
Okay.
problem. Okay?
All right. If
I'll make
anybody
the
has
motion
anything
to
else.
adjourn.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. This is probably more for Jeff or even for the rest of the board. I'm kind of reading the code. I referenced something or was looking at an accessory use. All right. If, say, somebody like Rachel's would allow him to set up in their front parking lot as an accessory use, would that be something that would be possible?
I'd want to take a look at the code, but I believe our definition of accessory use ties it to a use that's normally related to the business.
It
Which
would
is
still be an
food.
alteration of the special permit, which would require a special public hearing, so it wouldn't save any time.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
All right, okay. Motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Lanfear, second.
Trustee Galusha, second.
Okay,
Okay.
roll call vote.
Trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
Mayor Corby,
Corby, aye.
Trustee Galusha,
Trustee Galusha, aye.
Trustee Stetser, you're back. We're exiting.
I am back and I have no idea what we're voting on, so I'm going to abstain.
Adjournment.
We're closing the
Just
meeting.
adjourn.
Oh, goodness, all right. Aye.
Trustee Lampier,
Trustee Lanfear, aye.
motion passes.
Thank you, everyone.
Aye all.
Have a great
Bye-bye.
afternoon. Bye, everyone.
Aye.
Bye-bye, Frank.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.